June the 22nd, 2025. Guys, everyone knows by now, I'm sure, that we lost Ozzy Osbourne today. And I want to go through some memories, if you don't mind. Ozzy was like, I think it was the first metal band, and I saw them in about 71 or 72 up in Jackson, Mississippi. I'd have to look it up, the dates on the concert tours. And I think Ozzy was 23, and so was, I think, Tony Iommi, the guitar player, and they all just played at this reunion in Birmingham, England, probably a week or so ago. You saw Metallica, and I think people from Axl Rose and that bunch came in there. And one of the people in this picture was there. And he's the curly-headed dude right here. Now, I want to tell you a story about Mississippi and some friends of mine. They did live maybe 25 minutes from me north, up in Pearl, Mississippi, which is basically part of Jackson, but it's across the Pearl River into Rankin County. Anyway, they had some great musicians there, and these two guys were two of them. They were originally, I think the band was called David and the Giants, and they were the top in the touring bands in the local, colleges and things like that. Then Tommy ended up going down to Pensacola and playing with some people. That's the drummer. And then he came back to Mississippi, and him and Jimmy Henderson, a good friend of mine, who we lost, auditioned for Black Oak, Arkansas. And that began a long story in itself. But this is Black Oak that you're looking at. And they had a bunch of hits. I saw them many times. They were a rock and roll band out of Arkansas. And this, let me pull this up. I think this was from the album called Ain't Life Grand. You guys from Arkansas are very familiar with this band, I'm sure. But the whole world is. They toured with the ZZ Top. They toured actually with Black Sabbath, guys. Again, let me pull that up. They toured with Ozzy. So they had kind of had a road in, or at least the drummer did. Now, Jimmy and I, after Black Oak split up, well, before Black Oak split up, Jimmy called us up, and we went up to Memphis. This is the lead guitar player, baddest guitar player I've ever played with. They called us up to Memphis. They were recording there, Black Oak was, and him and a friend of mine that's also from Pearl, and we got to go up there and check them out and hang out with them a little bit. And then maybe a year later, Jimmy, the guitar player, came down here, back off tour, and him and I, some friends of mine here, recorded about 5 or 6 songs together. This Jimmy Henderson right here, both from Pearl. Well, after Black Oak broke up, Tommy ran into some people that all of us know. One of them was Randy Rhoads, but he had met him back touring with Black Oak. Okay, touring with Black Sabbath. And so they were already knew each other, but they ended up doing a gig together, and he got pulled into Ozzy Osbourne. That's why I'm doing the video. This is Tommy Aldrich. He's still with us. We lost Jimmy a few years ago. Tommy's still kicking. He was the leader in double bass. I remember watching him play live, guys, to where he could throw his drumsticks down and do a double bass ride and play everything else with his hands for 10 minutes. Come right back into the song. He was like a showcase drummer, and many people recognize that. And again, I'm doing this because in junior high, I had the Black Sabbath 8 tracks. Guys, you remember those? Anyway, it was they were the first metal band, and Ozzy, a lot of people say he was demonic and all that. It was a big show. He came on several shows and said he is not a Satan worshiper at all, that it is a big show. Now, he was a weird dude. I'm not going to say he wasn't. But do you remember Pat Travers' band? They were an excellent band. I had one of their albums, I think. Tommy played on that. How about Whitesnake? He was a drummer on some of their stuff and many other things. But anyway, I wanted to talk about Ozzy and his connection with Mississippi. Let's look at a little more information. And just quickly, this is a picture of my friend Jimmy, and that's the singer Jim Dandy from Black Oak that you see from behind him there. They were great guys, heavy rock and rollers. He could play anything, guys. Anything. Now, the picture on the right is Tommy, the drummer from here, and he's 5 years older than I am. He's born in 1950, 75 now. He's an American heavy metal and hard rock drummer. He is noted for his work with numerous bands, artists since the 70s, Black Oak, Pat Travers, Ozzy, Gary Moore, Whitesnake, Ted Nugent, Thin Lizzy, Vinnie Moore, and Yiggy Malmsteen. Yiggy was an excellent guitar player, played with a scalloped neck, if you guys know what that is. Self-taught, Aldrich was initially inspired by the music of Cream, the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix, and Zeppelin. And that's what they played in the early days, just like all of us. Drummers like John Morello, Ginger Baker, who was with Cream, and Eric Clapton, John Bonham, of course, Led Zeppelin, and Mitch Mitchell were particularly influential as Aldrich developed his drumming style. Aldrich himself has become very influential and as is regarded as a double bass drum pioneer in rock music. Like I said, I watched him smoke them way before he was with Black Sabbath, and to me, Black Sabbath was the original metal band. But to me, they had music that transcended it. And as far as what a lot of metal is, in the song War Pigs, they were totally against war. That's just was the way they did it. And again, he was a weird dude, but we lost him today. And I think, what was he, 70? I can't remember, guys. He was 76 or something like that, 78 maybe. And Parkinson's got him. God bless his soul. But let's look at a little bit more about Tommy here. Now, Tommy was raised here just up above us in Pearl, and Aldrich taught himself to play the drums in the 60s, building a kit piece by piece with money earned delivering newspapers and other odd jobs. That's how it was here. We were all worked. And when I was, I think I was 9, worked all summer and had enough money saved up to buy a cheap guitar and a little cheap amp. But I was tickled with it, you know. But he credits his unique style to learning without the benefit of a mentor or teacher. That's why he's one of the best. While his mother was supported, his father apparently was not. But in the early 70s, Aldrich began playing original music with Allie Keith in the Florida Panhandle, inspired by drummers such as Louis Bellson and Sam Woodward. He started using a double bass drum setup and became an early pioneer of the hard rock double kick drum style of drumming. A lot of people have come out of here. Guys, BB, Elvis. After playing for a short time with the southern rock band David and the Giants, that's the one guys we knew, and the singer actually came to our studio around 77, I think, and recorded a song that was it was a cover song anyway. It was really good. But Aldrich auditioned for Black Oak and was surprised to get the job. He made his recording debut in 72 with Black Oak. If an angel came to see you, would you make her feel at home? He subsequently recorded several albums with the band between 72 and 76, and that's when we were in Memphis when they were doing that album. He toured extensively. Aldrich has said that he wasn't particularly fond of Black Oak's music, and his intention when joining the band was to use the opportunity as a springboard to make a name for himself in the industry. And he damn sure did it, guys. He said he's not particularly proud of it in hindsight. But after he left Black Oak, he had to get through the contract I think it's a year and a half. He had to hide out in Chicago. Couldn't record anything, but after that ran out in 81, he joined Pat Travers. Remember, what was some of their songs? Snorting whiskey, drinking cocaine. You remember all those, just early rock and roll, right? But upon parting ways with Travis, Tommy moved to London. Imagine Pearl, Mississippi, selling newspapers to London, and began working with Gary Moore, recording the Dirty Fingers album. American guitarist Randy Rhoads, who had recently arrived in England to record with Ozzy Osbourne. And he had toured with Black Sabbath earlier, but it was before Randy Rhoads, but they knew each other through that link. Anyway, they became very good friends. And then you can go on and look at some more of this information. He recorded a lot with Ozzy, and Ted Nugent, Yiggy Maelstrom, John Sykes, Moorhead, House of Lords, Tim Bogert, James Christian. Some very big names in earlier music. Everybody remembers Whitesnake, David Coverdale, people like that. And Tommy, he was just on the show that you saw with Ozzy. Maybe Tommy will hang in there a little bit longer. But anyway, that's kind of my tribute to I really didn't mention Ozzy that much, but in my memory of his band and the people that played with him and the people that I know. But guys, I appreciate you listening. It's a heads up. Be safe.